recorded.
Sir, maybe your video is lost. Stop video.
Stop video. Hello. So, welcome, Dr. Mishra ji.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hello. Wani sir, can you hear me and see me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, Pathak sir, we can hear you. We can hear you. Hello.
Hello. Hello, TBR.
Sir,
No,
I can, yeah, can you hear me, sir, now?
Sir, audio of Mr. TKR is very poor. Very faint. We are not able to hear him. Yes, we are able to hear. Yes,
Acha, Bhavani, can you hear me, sir?
Same
Can you hear me?
1 to 2.
Hello.
Hello.
Good evening to all of you. Can you all hear me, please?
Sir, very poor, very poor.
One second.
Advice, sir.
Sir, we can hear you, but audio quality is very poor. Maybe you are on Bluetooth. So earplug should be wired or it should be directly on mobile. Then audio is much better.
Okay. Pathak sir, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Can you hear
but
me?
not very clearly. I can hear.
Huh?
I
Can
can
we
hear.
start?
I can hear. Can we start?
Yeah, you can hear you,
Sir,
but the audio is intermittent.
okay. Acha, Pathak sir, can you introduce our today's guest? Pathak sir,
Haji.
can you please introduce our today's guest?
Yeah.
Please.
Good evening, everybody. Today's guest is our AVM Wani sir, who was a part of Kargil, and he has done a number of missions during Kargil war. And he has recently retired, just last year. So, first thing today, he will tell about himself, his Kargil missions, and then later after 6 o'clock or 6:50, so Group Captain Nachiketa will join, and Wani sir is going to question him. So today there are two guests. First is Wani sir, and other is Nachiketa. So TBR,
Yes, yes, sir.
you can
So-
start now. You can start.
Yeah. Good evening, sir. Air Vice Marshal DV Wani, sir. Very good evening.
Good evening.
Welcome to our Air Veterans, this webinar on Kargil War Heroes, particularly during this Silver Jubilee celebration of Kargil War Heroes. So it's a great honor for our Air Veterans Association, sir, to have you on the call and to learn all about your contributions in Kargil War, sir. We are pleased to know that you are awarded with Visishta Seva Medal and also mentioned in dispatches during Kargil War for your contribution in the operations. So we would like to know all about Kargil War and your contribution in the war, sir, directly from you, so that our people can get enlightened and remember your services to our motherland during wartime. Yes, sir, you can start. So we are also pleased with your rich profile on various activities, being a fighter pilot and flying MiG-21 and Mirage 2000 at and your postings at various places, including TAC D and also in Russian, Russia also have air attach. So can you start your briefly about your joining Air Force and later take on to our activities at Kargil war.
Thank you very much, and very good evening to all the veterans. I'm honored today to be invited to be a part of this Zoom meeting, and I'm so thankful to you all that you all are interested and attending the Zoom meeting to hear about my experiences in the Air Force and especially during Kargil war. I joined Air Force through the National Defense Academy. I joined the academy in January 1983 after doing about a year of engineering, as I was very keen in joining NDA and becoming an army commando. However, fate had stored something else for me. So I joined as an Air Force candidate and planned to change my service after joining NDA. However, I continued with the Air Force, passed out of NDA in December 1986, and thereafter joined Air Force Academy at Dundigal, Hyderabad. I completed my training and I was commissioned in December 1986 and was posted to Tejpur for my initial training on the fighters, where we flew MiG-21s, and Gohain sir, who is attending the meeting, we were honored to be in his Moftu squadron, and he taught us well. He taught us well. I hope he also thinks that he taught us well.
Very nice, sir.
And after my journey has been, I flew the MiG-21s for 7 years. Thereafter, did the fighter combat leader course. Thereafter, I went to Mirage 2000s, joined TAGD as a DS. But while in Mirages, I participated in Kargil war. As DS, I was instrumental in devising some fighter tactics for the Indian Air Force, which are followed even now. And I'm so proud when people tell me about these tactics that we were taught well by Gohain sir and the other instructors in Moftu, and we could contribute to the progress of the Air Force. Thereafter, I was posted as AOC Bhuj. I
Wani.
proceeded to Russia after finishing my command, came back, commanded Gwalior, and finally retired as Air Vice Marshal from Southern Air Command as the Air Defense Commander. I retired in Jan 2023. That's about my journey in the Air Force.
Okay.
If there are any questions, otherwise I'll continue with my experiences during Kargil.
Yeah, no, I'm so happy, sir. When you joined Air Force Academy as a cadet, I was also working there in the telephone exchange as RTO, radio telephone operator.
Okay.
During those times, we used to help cadets in connecting calls.
Yeah, that was very, very important, because that time mobile phones, etc., were not there, and the
Yes,
only means of talking to our parents was through our Air
Yeah.
Force exchange.
Yes, sir. And also, I'm happy to learn that you also served in Bagdogra. I also served there for 3 years in my tenure.
Bagdogra was also a very good posting for me, and we
Sir.
really enjoyed. I got married when I was posted to Bagdogra.
Oh, great. Goen sir also was there for one tenure. And so now later, I think we are going to have Brigadier Ajit Apte, sir, expert in defense analysis. So he's also going to join us in due course. So I'm happy to say that. And yes, sir, you can continue now with your that Kargil issue, how you got prepared and what all you experienced, your contribution. And I think you have flown more than 43 sorties, I understand.
Yes. I had.
Yes, sir.
I had flown about 43 sorties, but preparation and all I will tell you, I had gone for a course to Coimbatore, and
Sir.
I came back on 21st of May. 22nd I joined, and on 22nd night I was told that, come on, we are deploying in Kargil and let's go.
Sir.
So at night around 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock, we took off and landed in Adampur. First 2 days, our mission was to escort the ARC, that is the Cabinet Committee organization, which was doing reconnaissance in that area. They were flying at very high heights of 40,000, and that was the height only the Mirage 2000 could fly and escort them. So we were pressed into service to escort these aircraft. After 2 days, the other Mirages fetched up in Adampur, and we shifted to Ambala. From there, I flew a total of about 38 sorties from Ambala. Thereafter, I was sent to Jodhpur because we were supposed to temporarily operate from Jodhpur, where I flew about 5 to 10 sorties contributing towards the Kargil operations. So a total of 43 sorties towards Kargil operations and many more towards other roles. After the initial escorting duties, the actual action started, and meanwhile, our second guest, Group Captain Nachiketa, who will join us shortly, after the unfortunate incident of his being downed by the problems faced by his aircraft and by enemy action, we proceeded to carry out escorting the other Mirage 2000s who were bombing the Pakistani intruders. Some very, very good and serious sorties were done by us. A few among them were attacking the Tiger Hill, which paved the way for the army to take over, because we received a letter from the CEO of the unit which finally took over Kargil, the Tiger Hill in Kargil, that it was thanks to the Air Force that they did not face any resistance when they went up. And we had those videos. Unfortunately, I don't have them now after 24 years, in which using the precision guided bombs, we were able to target the Pakistani sangars, or the bunkers as we know them, which were built atop Tiger Hill by Indian Army but occupied by the Pakistani intruders. The Pakistanis were regular. We have while flying on our equipment, we have seen them running helter-skelter when we used to bomb them. Subsequently, the second important mission, which broke the back of the Pakistani forces and forced them to retreat, was attack on their logistics camp at Muntho Dalo. This camp was a base camp where they had stored ammunition as well as food, rations, etc. And we identified in a previous sortie after doing reconnaissance, and thereafter we were able to precisely bomb them with a large number of bombs. As you all know, the Mirage 2000 carries a huge number of bombs, and after dropping those bombs, the next sortie when we did for Recce, we realized that the whole camp was destroyed entirely. Because of that destruction, there was no longer possible for the Pakistanis to give rations or ammunitions to the other posts which were occupied by them. We also carried out bombing missions at the other post which were occupied. However, because of their locations and close proximity of the Indian forces and because of the slopes and gradients of the hills, the Mirage 2000s were pressed into service because our ability to precisely bomb targets with very less error, and that's how we prevented collateral damage. We also carried out escort missions amongst ourselves, in which we used to carry beyond visual range missiles. We used to carry out domination patrols over this area. Because of the presence of the Mirage 2000s, the MiG-29s, and other aircraft, the F-16s could never come even 30-40 kilometers closer to the LAC, and they remained 50 kilometers away from the line of control to the north. They were operating from Skardu, but they could never come towards the area where our army was fighting the intruders. So in all, very good experience, flew many other roles, recce, electronic intelligence gathering, which helped in carrying out the operations successfully. And I have no doubt to say that the initial assessment, which was that it will take 6 months to evict the intruders because of the normal wisdom of requiring a large ratio when attacking troops which are on positions which are up the hill, and various other factors. The initial assessment from the army, from various other agencies, was that it will take 6 months. However, within 1.5 to 50 days, we were able to fight them off. Thereafter, some of us shifted to Jodhpur just to show presence and force in the southwestern sector also. And finally, the Kargil operations were stopped end of July. So these are my experiences. There are many sorties, individual experiences, but that will be going into too much detail. And although people who are involved in the operations, even when we meet now and we tell these stories, we laugh out loud. However, if I go into the details, maybe we won't be able to enjoy the minute details about these missions. So I will take on any questions if anybody has any questions.
Okay. This is Corporal Rameshwar. I'm ex from Air Force. So, being a fighter pilot, how do you feel when you are on the mission?
Actually, the training given to fighter pilots in the Indian Air Force is very good. So when we are on the mission, there is only one aim and objective of that mission is to achieve our goals with maximum efficiency without interfering with any other aircraft which are coming, and return back so that you can go for the next mission quickly and on time. So the general feeling which is there that people are apprehensive, afraid, or thinking too much. No, there is no time for that. There are so many activities to be done while flying a fighter, and especially when engaging in combat missions, that there is no time to think anything else. The aircraft moves so fast. There are so many activities to be done, so many switches to be put on, off, so many things to be done on the radar. And you have to be so careful while looking at the radar screen. You also have to keep looking outside all around so that an enemy aircraft should not come and surprise you. So we have so much of confidence in our ground team which has given us the aircraft, that we are never afraid that anything can go wrong with the aircraft, anything will go wrong with the aircraft, or we will have some issues. So thanks to the ground support team, we never have any problems. And the training which has gone in training a fighter pilot ensures that we are focused on our mission and achieving the goals of the mission.
Thank you, sir.
I hope I have answered.
Yeah. Oh, thank you, sir. Thank you for that. And you know the most challenging sorties you have flown during the Kargil operation, sir. Most challenging one.
Most challenging, there were many.
Out of sorties you
I,
have flown.
I remember one mission in which we were carrying out a domination patrol in that area to ensure that the aircraft, other aircraft which are operating in Kargil area are not intercepted by the Pakistani aircraft. So with our systems, we could pick up two intruders who were flying very close to the LOC because we were able to see it on a radar, and we quizzed them. We asked questions to the radar first, ground radar, that are any of our aircraft flying in this area? So the radar controller, fighter controller replied, no, there's none of our aircraft in that area. So now we were very sure that these are Pakistani aircraft. So we locked on to them, and locked on is a indication to the enemy aircraft that now they are being targeted by the long range missiles of the Mirage 2000. When we started going towards them and gave them a call, suddenly a response came from them that no, they are from the Indian Air Force. But meanwhile, meanwhile, we were ready to fire our missiles, and that is the time, thankfully, our CO, then Wing Commander Neil Kantan, now Air Marshal Neil Kantan, retired. He told us, "Oh, wait, don't fire. We will do a visual identification." And by the time we were heading for a visual identification, keeping ourselves safe at the same time, expecting them to be F-16, we were able to identify those aircraft. So any mismatch, had there been any delay in those chaps, those pilots responding to us, maybe we would have fired our missiles, and that would have been a disaster.
So, yeah, of course, sir. So miraculous escape for them also.
Yeah.
Sir, good evening. I am Wing Commander Pandey. I am a helicopter pilot, and I also took part in all attacks during Kargil operation. The incident you narrated, we were about to go in attack for Tiger Hill. That time, the fighters which are giving us basically suppressing fire, they gave a call that two aircrafts are escorting one aircraft and they are including inside. So that was most probably a Learjet which was on a Retd mission and escorted by two fighters. And our mission was called off because of that. So I remember this incident very well, and I heard all the party conversation during that.
Yeah, yes, must have been us only, sir, because we used to fly this escorts to Recce aircraft, our own Recce aircraft also, either Mirage 2000 or the Canberras. But the incident I narrated was against our own fighters.
Yes, sir. This was our Learjet from Sawa, which went for a Recce, and it was returning back somewhere close to Kargil and Butalik sector.
Yes. Yes. Many such incidents, sir. I remember
sir, because there are so many learning values out of this, because intelligence was not shared in time. Army had their own intelligence, Air Force had their own intelligence, but they were not sharing with each other. Okay, because subsequently when I went to Air Headquarters and in department, they had all the maps, but we had no maps. We didn't have any target pictures. We didn't have where to attack. Which was only guided by an army officer who was close proximity to those targets. We used to be on board our helicopter and we used to go for attack. So I hope things have changed subsequently, and this integration is must to have a successful effect of war or result of war. Thank you very much for sharing your views, sir.
Thank you, sir, because things have
Yeah,
improved.
thank you, sir.
Things have improved really very well now because
Carry on, sir. Carry on.
lots of analysis has gone into the post-war period, and thereafter we have done many exercises, many such things. TAGD conducts very good courses nowadays where all the branches are involved from all ranks, and we are in a much better condition than what we were during Kargil.
So may I ask a question?
Please go ahead.
Sir, I'm B.S. Sharma from Jaipur. I just wanted to know when you were asked the ground radar, is there any aircraft flying in this area? And you were told there is no aircraft. Was there any action taken against that ground radar operator?
So what had happened was, because these radars from our height, we were able to contact these radars, but some of these radars were positioned in areas because of the position, the mountains were coming between certain sectors. Because to have a full picture, either you require a airborne radar like an AVAX, which we have now, and which we didn't have that time, or you have to have a radar which is placed on top of hills, which was not done. So a radar which was placed at, say, Srinagar or other areas which it was placed, they were blind zones. They could not pick up aircraft flying at 15,000, 20,000 in some areas. We are a much better Air Force. We have much better radar now. But that time, there was not a full picture. They were able to pick us up because we were flying at much higher height. Whereas these other aircraft, MiG-21s, which were flying, they were flying at a slightly lower height. The height bands were given to us by our command headquarters so that there is no interference. We don't collide with each other while flying and engaging in combat. So because of their height band, they were not being picked up by the radar. Whereas we operating at much higher heights, we could pick them up.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you for that, Bhavani Sharma garu. Now we have another V-Chakra awardee, sir, 71 War Hero, helicopter pilot. Pushpa, scholar Pushpa from the Council on Scotland. Before I give the opportunity, I would like to know, sir, how difficult was the operations during those restrictions? So you should not cross into the LOC part of thing. So how difficult were the operations for you?
You are asking me?
Yes, sir. You sir. There were restrictions on crossing the border during those Kargil days. So how difficult were the operations for our pilots, sir, to conduct those things?
See, I will tell you this. When air operations are carried out, the operations require much more freedom of operation.
Correction.
However, the missions were planned with the rules of engagement as directed by the government.
Sir,
So
yes.
we ensured that the missions planned for the squadrons, the command headquarters ensured that the mission planned for the operations which were carried out by the Indian Air Force were tailored with those rules of engagement.
Sir.
So the pilots did not face any problem because the mission was tailored to.
Okay.
Yeah, but to achieve best results for air operations, the Air Force requires unrestricted freedom. Like I will say, if the restriction was that you will not cross the LOC. Now that forced us to attack the enemy from directions because we could not come from north to south.
Yes,
because
sir.
they were occupying post 3, 4, or 5 kilometers inside our territory.
Yes, sir.
But it would have been much more convenient for us to come from the north, that is from the other side of LOC, and attack these. And
okay,
maybe much more damage could have been done and much more damage much earlier could have been achieved. So the restrictions placed on the Air Force were forcing the Air Force to fly suboptimal missions. But the pilots, while flying the missions, did not face problems because the missions by the planning staff in headquarters was catering for that.
Okay. Great, sir. So now we have our 71 war hero, sir. Airborne Operations Specialist. Squadron Pushpa is also on the call from Scotland, sir. Sir, would you like to interact with our AVM Wani, sir? Pushpa, sir.
No, I'm just fascinated with the lovely story he's just told us. Thank you very much.
But you should also tell us about your stories.
Thank you,
Obviously,
sir.
I was not attending the Zoom meeting when these stories were told.
Yeah, but
He
fascinating to
narrated
watch
his stories, sir, that particularly the Helipore operations.
Now the Helipon's operation. I think I should do another Zoom operation for you. You know.
Yeah, we'll share your story also to them, sir. Again.
Yeah, it'll be fun. It'll be fun. My pleasure. Anytime you want, I'm happy to join.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for joining from such far distance. Yeah. Sir,
No, I love stories. I love war stories, and it's fascinating to watch what the MiGs were doing. Absolutely wonderful.
Great, sir. So now we have Group Captain. Go ahead, sir. From Assam.
Yeah, and
Go ahead,
actually,
sir. He's a great aviation artist.
Can you hear me?
So depicted so many warlike situations through his art. So I have seen all his arts in so many museums. Yes, sir. Would you like to
Talking about
interact?
art, yeah, talking about art, and we just saw us going to push weight on the screen, and you'll be very happy to know that that painting about his Heliborn operation, the painting was presented by our chief to Prime Minister of Bangladesh, Sheikh Hasina.
Wow, great, sir. Great.
That and that is one of the only painting which was gifted by our chief to Prime Minister of Sheikh Hasina. And chief, in fact, wrote to him, me about that, and he said we are very proud about the fact. Okay, and this painting has gone places really, and they have been really appreciated. And that Helibon operation that Shwet carried out is one of the operations, like a mission that really went on to win the war. Whereas people, okay, and I'm
sir,
so
one of the
very
most
thankful
crucial
that
factors.
absolutely, and I'm very thankful to him that he let me bring that thing on the canvas. Anyway, coming back to the subject of this mirages and Kargil, I think Wani, I think you'll be interested to know, glad to know that I read when I was visiting airport after retiring. I was visiting late Vice Chief Barbara, PK Barbara. And there in his office, I came across a magazine, and where I read an article by a Pakistani columnist, historian, where about Capt Tofail. You must be knowing about. He's a very famous historian of Pakistan Air Force. He's written there very clearly that till the mirages came to the war, and the war was going against India in a way that there was by Indian from the ground weapons were finding it very difficult to engage the targets which were there on the top of the hills, okay, and dug in. And after the mirages came, and the things changed. And one of the first sortie which engaged at Tiger Hill was by that time group captain, later Air Marshal, who engaged the target with the thing, with the LGB, and that was the beginning of the end. And thereafter, Mirages took over of the and he also talked about Monte Carlo and all that. And Air Marshal Nambiar showed me those photographs. In fact, the Montreal, tremendous work done by the Mirages. But Bonnie, you must tell me, not tell me, tell us, tell the audience that why Mirages came so late after losing a MiG-21, a MiG-23, and one helicopter, and then only the Mirages came. Why so late, and why decision was taken so late to bring the Mirages? I think that will make a very interesting story. Thank you. Thank you.
So, firstly,
Firstly,
I will say that
I will say that
although I would like to take all the credit, but it was a combined effort by all aircraft and all branches of the Indian Air Force. I'm not being politically correct, but I realized it when during the thing we used to visit in between 1 or 2 days when we used to get, we used to go and visit all these other flying units also, sir. And everybody was doing their best. The issue was, sir, pressing Mirages late. Actually, after the decision was taken to send in the Mirages, because it takes time to get ready, and WAC, the Western Air Command, pressed their aircraft which were nearby into service immediately. And we reached there the second night. We were there. Because for preparing these aircraft, taking out our readiness and preparing them for mountain operations, etc. The Air Force took some time. At the same time, we were very, very clear that if we use our Air Force, it will escalate. And in that escalation, we will require the Mirages, MiG-29s, at various other places because we can't concentrate all of them there. So we were sent piecemeal into, like I said, the second night of operations by Air Force, 2 Mirages reached. Next morning, other 4 came. By afternoon, we had 8 additional. And on the third day, we were deployed as we were supposed to be in SWAC, in WAC, and in other bases with more concentration towards Kargil operations. Like I said, the restriction placed on the Air Force forced the planners not to use the MiG-21s, MiG-27s in a classical way. So they had to go from a limited direction, valleys, and attack those posts, and they become prey to the Pakistani stingers. So at least what I know of is that it was not a delayed decision. It was just that the progress was so fast for the other aircraft that if they reached on Monday, we reached there Tuesday night by 4 o'clock in the nights. So as far as I'm aware, sir, we reached there when we got ready because I was there on Monday and there was no indication that we are going to land there. After we landed, it was the third day in which the aircraft were shot down. So my understanding is that as per schedule, we went in, we learned lessons because thereafter when we used to come back, we used to see some aircraft coming from the east and getting deployed to the west, etc. And we were wondering that how come it is taking so much time? But this was the briefing given to us that if we had moved suddenly everybody to north, and now if action had started in SWAC, it would have been very difficult to us for us to shift forces. So that was my understanding of the whole thing, sir. The Mirages had many more roles, and here I should say, sir, just 2 days ago we were discussing that thanks to our AOC then, sir, Air Commodore P.S. Ahluwalia, who later on became CNC, retired as Air Marshal Ahluwalia, and then Wing Commander Nambiar, who later retired as Air Marshal Nambiar, sir. They drove the innovation, and within 4, 5, 10 days, we were able to drop those LGBs, laser-guided bombs. Otherwise, the laser-guided bombs provided to us had great limitations. They did some modifications and innovations, and with good backing from the commands and air headquarters, we were able to do those innovations. And so the French Air Force, the French government, and the Americans who had never used these LGBs at such heights were also surprised. When we told them that these are the modifications carried out by us, we had to modify the bomb, we had to modify the aircraft, and which was done locally by understanding the systems. All in all, a great effort by all fleets, all branches. And because I am from the Mirages, I will say that we were able to achieve. So I'm saying, but when I say we, it is the whole Air Force. Thank you, sir.
Sir, good evening, sir.
I remember, sir, actually I did on 4th or 5th June, Mirage's pilot from Srinagar to Tiger Hill and forwarding duty for them. They were on board. And luckily, that day one stinger was fired. And that was really because we were slightly out of range. And we could see the small crack, and that actually fell short of helicopter because we were much to the south of us. So I remember Mirage's pilot I carried out there. Familiarization sortie or a AT sortie from and somewhere on 4th or 5th of June.
Hello. Sir JW Pathak here. Can you please tell me what are your ammunition configuration when you are going for operation in Kargil?
I'm not able to hear you fully.
Sir, I am just asking, what was your ammunition configuration during flying over Kargil for attacking Kargil? What are the things, bombs, rockets you are carrying?
Like I said, I flew missions with all kinds of ammunition combination. But I'll tell you, the issue with some of the aircraft who had to carry rockets was that for firing rockets accurately, you have to go close and fire. But the enemy had Stinger missiles with a range of 5 kilometers, where the rockets are fired at 1.2 kilometers from the target. So, after the initial losses, the Mirage 2000s were carrying laser-guided bombs and normal, we call them dumb bombs, the normal bombs which are carried. We used to carry a large number of 250 kg bombs, and that was what was used with our precision system on Muntho Dhalo. So it was basically bombs which could be dropped from greater height, greater distance from the target, ensuring safety of our aircraft.
Thank you, sir.
So, good evening, sir.
Good evening.
I am JW Ramesh from Indore, sir.
Yeah, Mr. Ramesh.
If I ask a question in Hindi, will you be comfortable?
Yeah. Please go ahead.
हाँ, तो चलिए, अभी तो आप टेक्निकल बातें कर रहे थे सर। अब थोड़ा सा हमारे भारतीय युद्ध इतिहास के बारे में उससे रिलेटेड है कि जिस तरीके से 43 सॉर्टीज मींस ग्रेट वॉरियर, बहुत ही साहसी पायलट योद्धा। तो जिस तरह से हमारे योद्धा युद्ध में लड़ने जाते थे, तो उसके पहले रानियां उनका श्रृंगार करती थी और बिल्कुल तिलक लगा के भेजा करती थी। तो क्या आपको भी ऐसे भेजा गया था?
अच्छा क्वेश्चन है। ये जो पुराने कस्टम्स थे
जी,
ये बहुत बढ़िया कस्टम्स थे, और जब हम घर से निकले थे तो हमें भी ऐसे ही भेजा गया था। लेकिन उसके बाद जब मैंने और कुछ मिशंस लॉन्च किए, जब मैं एओसी था
जी,
तो वो इतने सीक्रेट मिशंस होते थे ग्वालियर से कि लोग अपने वाइफ्स को बता नहीं पाए थे कि वो कहाँ
जी
जा
जी।
रहे हैं। उन्होंने बोला कि वो नाइट फ्लाइंग करने जा रहे हैं और वो जाके आ गए। तो आजकल आजकल एयरफोर्स और युद्ध इतना तेज हो गया है, इतना फास्ट पेस हो गया है कि कस्टम्स फॉलो करना इतना आसान नहीं है। बट भावनाएं वही थी, हमारे
जी
फैमिलीज में वही भावनाएं थी। फैमिलीज में डर था, फैमिलीज में एप्रीहेंशन था।
जी।
लेकिन हम बातें करते रहते थे उनसे 3-4 दिन में और उनको बताते रहते थे। और जो स्टेशन में सपोर्ट मिला था फ्रॉम अफवाह, फ्रॉम अदर ladies whose husbands were deployed, from all ranks. Ladies, their husbands were from all ranks, so their groups were formed and they were supporting each other. Otherwise, it is very difficult for our families when we are deployed for war. जब उन्हें पता नहीं होता है कि क्या होने वाला है, तो हम तो अपनी डींगे हाँकते हैं, बट बहुत सारी सैक्रिफाइस हमारी फैमिलीज करती है, हमारे बीवी बच्चे पेरेंट्स बहुत सैक्रिफाइस करते हैं।
Thank you, sir. We all recognize your valor and all Kargil heroes. We have a very high degree of respect for each one, sir. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Yeah,
There
I think
We garland
I
you,
would like
sir.
to.
Garland you.
Yeah,
Sir,
I should share one thing. I should share
one
one thing.
question. Please give me a chance. One question. While Flight Lieutenant Nachiketa at that time, who was flying back, so he had to eject because his engine got seized. Later on, I met engine, technical person, and he just informed me that after firing or releasing the bomb, the MiG engine seizes for a minute and then it restarts. So that snag is there in that particular aircraft. How far it is been rectified, sir?
अभी नचिकेता साहब आएंगे, वो बताएंगे अपने को। मैं खास करके उनसे ये सवाल पूछूंगा, लेकिन मैं आपको बताता हूँ, ये फॉल्ट नहीं है, ये फॉल्ट नहीं है और ये बॉम्ब रिलीज पे नहीं होता है। MiG-21, MiG-27 ये एक बहुत बड़ा रॉकेट होता है S-24 नाम का। तो जब ये रॉकेट फायर करते हैं तो इतना ज्यादा एयर डिस्टर्ब हो जाता है, क्योंकि वो बहुत बड़ा रॉकेट है। ओके, 240 mm का रॉकेट है। नॉर्मल रॉकेट्स हम फायर करते 80 mm एक्सेट्रा, ये 250 किलो का, ये एक मारेंगे ना तो पहाड़ियां टूटती है, इतना पावरफुल रॉकेट है। तो वो इतना पावरफुल रॉकेट जब जाता है तो एयर डिस्टर्ब हो जाती है, और वो डिस्टर्ब एयर की वजह से इंजन सीज होने के चांसेस होते हैं। तो एक स्विच होता है, जब हम S-24 सेलेक्ट करते हैं तो फायर करने से पहले हम वो स्विच ऑन कर देते हैं और उससे वो इंजन रिलाइट हो जाता है इमीडिएटली, पायलट को और कुछ करना नहीं पड़ता। तो जो नचिकेता, ग्रुप कैप्टन नचिकेता एयरक्राफ्ट के साथ हुआ था, वो अपने को खुद ही बताएंगे वो जब आएंगे तो। लेकिन ये प्रॉब्लम नहीं है, ये किसी भी एयरक्राफ्ट के साथ हो सकता है जिसमें उस तरह के इंजन है। MiG-21 का इंजन जो होता है उसके सामने होता है इनटेक, MiG-27 के इनटेक्स होते हैं दोनों साइड होते हैं। तो ये प्रॉब्लम्स है, क्योंकि ये जो एयरक्राफ्ट है इनको रशिया में डिजाइन करते वक्त अलग चीजों के लिए किया था। हम उनको, अभी रशिया में तो आप जानते ही होंगे कि सारा समतल है, विच इज ऑल मोस्टली एट ग्राउंड लेवल। सो you are not supposed to be firing these weapons at 6 kilometers, 7 kilometers. They haven't designed these aircraft. लेकिन हमें करना पड़ रहा था उस हाइट पे, क्योंकि अपने हिमालय उस हाइट पे है। वहां पे एयर जो होती है, एयर की डेंसिटी बहुत कम होती है। जिस स्पीड के पे हमको फायर करना होता है तो एयर फ्लो जो आता है वो जस्ट एयर रिक्वायरमेंट के हिसाब से होता है। अब वो डिस्टर्ब एयर फ्लो हो जाता है तो इंजन नहीं काम करेगा। इट इज बेसिक फिजिक्स। बट ये प्रॉब्लम नहीं है, ये उन्होंने सोच के उसमें उन्होंने solution दे रखा है engines के लिए.
Thank you, sir.
And I would like to share that apart from being heroes of battle, our Wani sir was also involved in the most strategic and sensitive operations. But hats off to you, sir, for your amazing contribution to sensitive and unique operations you have participated and planned. Thank you so much for that. So nation always recognizes your wonderful contributions, sir, in those crucial times.
Thank you very much. Thank you. And if Group Captain Nachiketa joins, then we will continue. But otherwise, I'm ready to answer other questions and other points by other veterans also.
Okay, sir. Okay. Thank you, sir. Any other question from anybody else? Now 4 minutes more to have our another guest speaker, that is Nachiketa sir.
Okay, till he joins, one more question. Say, in the Air Force, the PAPT is been the test. It is given chance only once. So, sir, why so? Once one prepares for that and practices, then one can overcome. So, why this PAPT is not given the second chance?
I couldn't get your question.
That is, while you are selecting the pilot, so there is a test of this one, some pilot aptitude test, battery test, PABT. PABT, whatever, that test. Why the second chance is not given, sir?
See, I will tell you, the people who fail in PABT, it is not that they will not become pilots. There are many people who have become pilots in civil airlines after failing PABT. But the question is that in the Air Force, the resources are limited. The aptitude required to become a pilot, a combat pilot, whether he's flying a fighter or a helicopter or a transport aircraft, is much different. So the PABT chance is given to you once so as to see your natural abilities of reacting to situations, your natural hand, body, mind coordination, and your natural ability to pilot an aircraft in all conditions. That is why it is given, because if one practices PABT 30 times or 100 times, he will pass it like any other. जैसे अगर हम video game, our kids play video game, initially when they play, they are not good. But when they do it 50 times, they become good. But what we check in our selection is whether with minimum training, will you be able to handle all situations, even when we are not able to train you for those situations. So the PABT was designed and upgraded. जैसे हमने किया था, वैसे हमारे ग्रुप कैप्टन गोहेन, उनसे पहले कुछ और था, हमारे बाद कुछ और था, और प्रेजेंट PABT कुछ और है. तो ये अपग्रेड होते रहता है. But we don't want somebody to practice it and learn and pass PABT, because PABT is not for passing. PABT is for me to check whether this person can become a combat pilot with required training and will be able to handle all kinds of situations. So PABT में हमको PABT पास नहीं कराना है. PABT पास और उसके reactions देखना एक जरिया है. It is an indication how good a combat pilot he will become. So have you understood the difference between if you send a mentally challenged person and he does PABT 1,000 times, after that, he will pass PABT every time.
Yes, he will pass.
But then he will only pass PABT. When he faces a problem during flying, he will not be able to handle it. For that, I will have to give him 1,000 sorties to train. And combat forces, combat air forces don't have so many resources to keep training everybody 1,000 sorties of each mission. Utna time bhi nahi hota hai. So the idea of checking somebody in PABT is to know his natural ability to react to dangerous situations and come out of it.
Thank you, sir.
I hope you are understood and convinced.
Thanks, sir. I am convinced because I once tried during my Air Force tenure to become a pilot. So I was rejected in PABT, but when I came out of 15 years, so the flying was my passion, and after I was into I I joined a club and I flew Cessna 172 and Cessna 155 aircraft. Just as my wish that I will not go from this world without flying aircraft. Apart from my civil engagement, this was my hobby to fly those aircrafts, and then I was contented. So I was only asking that I was interested in Air Force to become a fighter pilot, but of course I didn't have that natural aptitude, and I thank you to just convince me for that. I am convinced.
Yeah. Thank you, sir, Rameshwar. Sir, finally, before we close, I would like to you to tell what is the most important lesson you have learned in the service, and what is the best message you would like to give to our participants, sir, on the call. Your learning, best learnings, and the message.
I will tell you, when we are commanders, when we are AOCs, all the command appointments which we hold, one thing we realize, okay, and this in the last 7, 8, 10 years, I used to tell all junior officers that most important aspect of Air Force or any combat organization is not machines, it is human beings.
Men behind machine, yes, sir.
So they not only man behind the machine, it is human beings. If we all treat all human beings properly, then the organization becomes very good. So concentrating on all other aspects is not as important as concentrating on the human beings of the organization. Even I am a great proponent, and I greatly believe that maybe after 15, 20, 30 years, human relevance of human beings is going to go down with robots, AI, algorithms coming in. All of us are going to become redundant. But till then, human beings are the most important part of a combat machine. If the Indian Air Force or the Indian Armed Forces are combat machines, then the most important part of this machine is human beings. And if we,
well said, sir.
If we treat human beings well, we are going to be a much better Air Force than our enemies.
Well said, sir. Great lesson. Thank you so much, sir, for wonderful narration of the entire episode of your Kargil operations. And we are grateful to you, and for getting a lot of valuable information. So now let's wait for our Group Capt Nachiketa, sir, another hero of 1999 Kargil War.
Yeah, may I add something here? TBR, can you hear me? Group Captain Gohani,
Carry on,
can
sir.
you hear
Carry on.
me? Yeah. I think
we can hear you, sir.
Yeah. You see, there what Wani has narrated is the overall utilization of the forces in the Kargil. But like I said, and I'll always keep on saying that Mirage 2000 the platform, the best platform that Indian Air Force has acquired. Yet, until today, in spite, I am not so sure about the Rafales because we don't know much about this aircraft. But whatever we have till we got Rafales, even if you see in Balakot, we choose to send Mirage 2000s. And I dare say in Kargil, if Mirages are not there, then the utilization of APA itself would have changed. I mean, I may be right, I may be wrong. I am not a strategist, but the way we discuss the things with Air Marshal Mr. Nambiar and some other pilots like Air Marshal Vartaman. So this is the aircraft is one of the most versatile aircraft, and the aircraft that are used at that height. Why MiG-23, MiG-27s, MiG-21, and even a bomber like Canberra that also came back with holes and somehow landed in Srinagar. But there, one that who saved us in the Mirage 2000s. And I think if he had more time, he would have probably explained to you how Mirages fared and which really toppled the turned the war in favor of India. Thank you.
Sure, one more question. Anyway, one more question regarding helicopter pilots which are armed. See, the fighter pilot is having the advantage of speed and maneuvers, but helicopter pilot does not have, and he has to be close to surface while firing on enemy target. So how he maneuvers and how he takes care of his own safety and aircraft safety.
Firstly, I will thank. Go ahead, sir. Yes, what you said is right, sir. The Mirages have been a good platform. And there has been a upgrade to the Mirages, and like you said, sir, during Balakot also, the Mirages played a stellar role. But like I said, sir, everybody contributed. The Mirage 2000, because of its modernness and ability, and the vintage, is a very capable platform to be engaged for those sorties which we carried out during Kargil at higher altitudes. What you are saying is right. We also believe that had we delayed inducting the Mirages or not inducted the Mirages in Kargil, the objective would have been achieved, but much later with much more casualties. So it is a capable aircraft, and over the last 20-25 years after Kargil, we have upgraded it technologically, and our tactics, etc., have evolved. And now it is a very good combination of pilot training and aircraft capabilities. Yeah, regarding your question, I mean, I can answer it, although I'm not a helicopter pilot, but I have flown helicopter combat missions as a TAG-D DS, TAG-D instructor. The fighter aircraft has got height and much higher speed and ability to maneuver in 3 dimensions very fast. However, the helicopter, because of its limitations, doesn't have the speed, doesn't have the altitude, and doesn't have the ability to maneuver so fast because of being at a lesser speed and lesser altitude. However, the missions for which a helicopter is to be used are also different because of these limitations. However, a helicopter pilot's life during war is going to be very, very difficult. So we have other systems for him, which will save him. A fighter cannot hide behind small mountains or behind the trees, whereas a helicopter can hide, can hover, and be under the trees. Just come out, see the target, fire at it, and again duck down, which doesn't give time for the enemy to fire at them. Even when we used to do combat with the helicopters, I used to fly the Mirage 2000 and the course officers used to fly the helicopter. It was very difficult for a fighter to shoot down helicopters. Very, very difficult. Or engage them. So their survivability lies for the pilot, helicopter pilots, to understand the limitations of their flying and make use of their advantages of being able to fly at very, very low speeds, fly at very, very low altitudes, and ability to hover. That is, be in one place and still keep your rotors operating, be in the air. When required, just come up above the trees, pick up the target, and fire and get down. However, in Kargil, this was not possible because already the elevation of Kargil was where they were operating was about 3.2, 3.64 kilometers. Plus, those are barren lands where there are no trees, no features where you could hide. And they were carrying weapons with a range of 5 kilometers. Whereas the helicopter to fire its weapons those days had to close into 800 meters to 1.2 kilometers.
Yeah, so thank you, sir. Now we have another speaker arrived onto this speed. Group Captain Nachiketa is on the call, sir. Welcome, sir. Welcome, Group Captain Nachiketa, sir. Onto the call.
Namaskar. Very good evening to all of you.
Very good evening, sir. It's a great pleasure and honor to have you on the call as being one of the greatest our Kargil war heroes. So we salute you and your services for the sacrifice for the nation, sir. As a VayuSena association. So now to anchor you or for next 45 minutes or so, we have Air Vice Marshal Wani, sir, who will take you through you to that Kargil war zone and enlighten all the things happened during those Kargil operations, sir. So it's a great honor. We welcome you to this call during this Silver Jubilee celebrations of Kargil Vijay Diwas.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Wani sir, can you hear me?
So I request all our air warriors on the call to give him a big round of applause and welcome him, sir.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yes, sir. So, sir, over to Wani, sir.
Wani sir, good evening. Before you take over, I just want to apologize to all of you. So many senior esteemed veterans are sitting. I got delayed. I've just traveled 2.5 hours in heavy rain. So my plan was to be here by 6 o'clock, but I got delayed. So apologies for that. And very good evening to all of you. It's indeed my privilege to be a part of this August gathering. Wani sir, over to you.
Yeah, thanks. And good that you are stuck in rain. That means we are getting rain everywhere in India, which is much better than... and thank you for giving me the extra time, and I could answer so many questions. Okay,
Thank you, sir.
But there are 1 or 2 questions which will be asked to you specifically. I will leave it to the audience. But before we proceed, like it was done earlier, I will request you to give a brief introduction about how you joined the Air Force, through what entry, your initial postings, and then we can come on to your induction into Kargil and the eventful next 3, 4, 10, 15, 30 days.
Sure, sir. So, just a brief intro. I joined Pune NDA in 1990. I think a lot of you people are also in Pune right now. So that was the place where the entire story started. Basically, keenness to fly. Father being a government servant, we didn't have civil aviation then. It was only for the elite few. So that that love for, passion for flying took me to the Air Force. And once we think of Air Force, all youngsters, we naturally think of fighter pilots. So that's how it started. So I finished 3 years at NDA from 90 to 93. 1 year at Dundigal, Flying Kirans in Bidar. 94, I was commissioned. So I went into hunters. We were some people who were pretty tall for the at that stage, and they thought we are not fit for the MiG-21 trainer, which was there in Tejpur. So all the tall lot of us, we went to a place called Kalaikonda. We did hunters flying for 1 year, and after hunters, some people go to Jaguar, some go to mix. So I was selected for the mix. So my first posting operationally after hunters was to a unit called 10 Squadron, MiG-27s. So that was the first actual fighters after hunters. I spent 3 years in Jodhpur flying the MiG-27s. Exceptional tenure because we got very good seniors, very good operational training. Some of them were postmates to AVM Wani. We did a lot of flying in the deserts of Rajasthan, a lot of flying over Pokhran, firing. So 3 years gave me a good exposure to fighter flying. And that is in 98, I was posted to a unit called 9 Squadron Air Force called Wolfpack. So this was at a place called Adhampur, Punjab. And my CO here was Group Captain Avtar Singh then. So this was the entire process of Kargil induction, which I think Wani sir already has covered. It started sometime in 99. The precursor was sometime end 98 when the intrusion started. And sometime in 99 May is when our Indian Army started getting a stock of the situation. And that is when other things followed up and Air Force came in between and all. So this is the entire build-up from for me as far as my flying career is concerned from 94 to 99. One is with you.
Sorry, I was muted. Yeah.
Sorry.
Thanks, Nachiketa. Thanks for the introduction. Without wasting too much time, we will go on to your experiences about Kargil. When were you inducted and how it all went?
Okay, sir. I understand all are veterans here. No civilians. Okay, all veterans. Good. Patak sir, all veterans here, no?
Sir, no civilians, please.
Okay, sir. Sometime in May of 1999, first week we had an incident of Captain Kalia and a lot of them who caught on to some kind of intrusion and they were killed by the enemies across. So once again, in sometime in second week, we had some discussions at Delhi about requirement of Air Force and air support for the entire mission because Army realized that they were in a position of disadvantage because our enemies were on higher ridges, higher mountain peaks, and our troops were in the lower valleys. So once Air Force was requested, the only requirement which came from the government was no crossing of the LOC. So if you people can visualize a situation where we have targets over hills where LOC is very close, and we have been given a diktat by the government not to cross over to other side. That puts a lot of limitations on the operational planning and mission execution for the fighters. So that is one issue. Second problem, which was it's called fratricide. So what happens is when we are flying a air battle in hills, our troops and enemy troops are very close to each other. 1 or 2 kilometers, half a kilometer this way and that way, and we can have our own troops and enemy troops in very close proximity. So second issue which our pilots had to be careful about was to be very, very precise in their entire bombing and targeting so that we don't get into fratricide, wherein we cause injuries or damage on own side. And third, of course, is hills. Usually, most of the fighter planes are very good as far as performance is concerned over hilly, non-hilly areas because of altitude limitations. So we were to operate in areas which were excess of 10, 12, 13,000 feet, all the way to 25 to 26,000 feet of terrain. So when you have targeting in these areas, there will be some limitations on the fighters as far as performance is concerned. So with this background, we inducted in the valley. From Adhampur, we moved to my obligation, which was Srinagar on 17th, 16th to 18th of May. And by 18th May, all our fighters were in Srinagar. Some other squadrons had come from Bhatinda. Some came from Gwalior, like Wani said, Gwalior to Adhampur. Jaguars moved from Ambala ahead. So a lot of units are deployed ahead to Avantipur, Srinagar, and Pathankot and Adhampur places. So we took about 1 week to refamiliarize because we had been there recently. Every 3 months or 3 to 4 months, we go there for operational familiarization. But we once again in this 1 week till the time actual decision came for the Air Force to start operations, we were getting used to the entire flying in the high altitude, once again terrain, doing some firing at a place called Toshe Medan. So 25th of May is the date when I think orders came for Operation Safed Sagar, which is the part of the Operation Vijay, where Air Force was involved. So on 26th of May was the day one of operations officially as far as Air Force is concerned. Eventful day because 26 had a lot of clouding. Now, when we are doing a firing over areas where targeting is very critical, it's important to get a direct line of sight with the target when we are doing firing. So, if you don't have that, it's not safe to fly because of the reasons which I gave earlier. So, on 26th of May, a lot of missions could not go through. And then we went to the second day of the mission, which is 27th of May. So on this day, we got airborne from Srinagar. We had a big briefing because when a mission gets airborne, it's not just 2 or 4 fighters. We have the bombing component, we have the BDA, battle damage assessment component, we have the air defense component, alien component. So all these forces fly from various places. They get together as a package. Then we go and do the firing. Then there is assessment of the damage. The air defense aircraft give us cover against enemy aeroplanes. All of us come back. Based on the report of the BDA aircraft, which were MiG-21s in our case, we plan the next wave of missions. So we had a mission that day morning in the second wave. First wave was led by our CEO, Group Captain Navtar Singh, and then our Flight Commander Bhatnagar sir. So in the second wave, we had 4 aircraft which were the bombing component. So we had 2 aircraft, Boxer followed by 2 aircraft Hyena. So these 4 aeroplanes, which comprised of Mandokot, called Mandokot himself, and Anupam Banerjee and Cats, Katana. So all 4 of us were part of a formation. The front 2 were carrying bombs. 2 behind, Self and Mando, we were carrying rockets. So we were 4 aircraft. Now behind us, after about 10 minutes, we were supposed to have 2 aeroplanes, MiG-21s, to get airborne and do something called a BDA, bomb damage assessment. So Ahuja was there in number 1. Number 2, there was a guy called PG Reddy. So 6 of us, and we had air defense support from Avantipur, where MiG-29s had come over and some Mirages for the elite. So this was the entire package. So around 11:15 or so, we got airborne. We had detailed briefing before the mission, and the army component which were there, they gave us a mission briefing about a place called Munto Dalo. Now, if you can visualize the place Kargil, northeast of Kargil, about 030040, about 25 to 30 miles. But there's a place called Batalik. From Batalik, we go further up northeast, and there is a rivulet which flows called Da River that ends into a big bowl. That's called Munto Dalo Bowl. So we had inputs from the army that this ball had a lot of storage and ammunition dumps and all these things. So this was a primary target. This came in news later on also when we shifted our entire bombing from dive bombing to precision bombing by Mirages and other Jaguars. So that was in news a lot because our target later on also was to neutralize the entire place. So we got airborne, 4 of us went there. The first 2, Boxer 1 and 2, they did the bombing mission. Now, when Hyena 1 and 2, that is Mandokot and Cell number 2, we rolled in for the attack. When the bombs fell over the target, a lot of smoke. So the smoke came out, and my number 1, he missed the target because in smoke it's very easy to miss the targets. So he could not do the firing mission. So I did. By the time I came into the dive attack, I was able to pick up the targets, a whole lot of them. It was a huge setup. So after doing my mission, when I got airborne, I saw my leader going for a second pass because his rockets were still with him, 80 rockets, a lot of them. They can carry very potent damage to the target. So when he went in for the target second time, I still had my guns with me, and I went in as a formation. We are always together; we don't leave. So I went in for the second attack, and I finished my gun firing. So after the attack got over, that is when we do a climb out. Then we again set course back to the base. And in this phase, in the climb out phase, I had an engine failure. So MiG-27 is a single engine. We don't have 2 engines. So when there is engine failure, the only thing left for us is the speed of the aeroplane, because we're trying to ease up from a dive, rolling in at 25,000 feet, 17 to 18,000 feet, we do the dive, we start easing up. So when the engine fails, then only thing left for you is the aircraft speed. So the speed has to be converted to some kind of a height, and you do a relight kind of thing. So I dropped the jettison, the fuel tanks, which carry a lot of drag, and we have a procedure of starting the engine. So the engine started. Meanwhile, I informed my leader that I have engine failure. but unfortunately, it takes time for the engines to spool up when the air is very rare. We are doing a startup around 18, 19, 20,000 feet. At that altitudes, air is very rare. So the spool up took some time. And before the spool up could complete, I reached about 85% of the RPM. I could see that I'm about to go into a hill. So that is when I took a decision to leave the aeroplane because that is where ejection seats are given. So I ejected. It was a low level ejection because within my parachute deploying within about maybe 5, 10, 15 seconds, I was on the ground. So it was a low level ejection because the entire terrain itself was at 17,000 feet in that area. Fortunately for me, it was all snow capped. So because of the snow, I was able to not have any direct damage on my legs. Otherwise, at that low altitude when you eject, you still not stabilized to come down. Speeds are still high, so it takes time for us to stabilize. Uh, so this was the first shock for me when I came out of the aeroplane. That safety, that cockpit security, which a comfort which a pilot has of having 25,000 kilos of power behind and a cockpit and he can just fly anywhere. That thing was gone. And as I was still trying to orientate exactly my location, I knew where the target was approximately. So I was not sure whether I'll have our own forces or enemy forces. So I was still trying to orientate when I could hear gunshots. It was mostly white because of snow and gunshots were fired. I could not still pick up the enemy troopers because obviously it was white and they were wearing camouflage dresses. But I could make out that firing is going on towards my location. So in all likelihood, the enemy is closer to me than my own forces. So that is when I quickly removed my parachute. We carry some frequencies and some things on person. I hit them in the snow and I started running towards some boulders to get some cover. So by the time I reached there, I took out my gun. We carry a small pistol called the macro pistol. By the time I was just trying to orient it again because post ejection, some back pain, some head pain, oxygen, low temperatures. I could see about 5 to 6 people rushing towards me in some kind of an ambush. I was in a slightly high plateau, and they were rushing from the valley below. And all of them had obviously AK-50, AK-47s or 56, and they were firing at me. Now, I just had one small macro pistol, 8 and I was firing at them, and they were trying to fire at me in ambush. And I finished my first magazine. We carried 2 magazines. Before I could load my second magazine to once again take aim, that is when the first initial guys came in. Of course, after that, there was nothing much I could do because 5 of them, and then they were trying to physically hit me and all. And then the first one of them put his barrel into my mouth, and uh, I even after 99, even after 25 years, I still remember his face so clearly because I was waiting for that maybe a second notice to me before he will pull the trigger. He put his barrel into my mouth. He was looking at me. I was looking at him, and I looked at his figure, and I was just thinking he's about to pull the trigger. I was looking for that, and that is when I heard a shout. And when that shout came, everybody turned towards one side where one of their platoon commanders, the officer, who came up. He must be following them slightly behind. So he said they spoke in Urdu or some Pashto or some language, and then I could make out that they were having a discussion. These guys were trying to tell him, sir, this guy fired rockets at us on ground. He fired guns, so let's kill him. But I think that guy was what he was telling was in Urdu. I could make out broken Urdu was that मैं एक soldier हूँ मैं अपने duty कर रहा था. It was my duty even in air on ground to fire at them and not to get caught. And once I am caught, I am a prisoner. I should not be treated otherwise. So it took some time for him to convince all the Jawans because they were hot-headed. I'm sure a lot of their friends would have been killed in a firing. So obviously they were in that temper. But this officer was very cool and he was able to control them, pacify them, and then I was made a prisoner, blindfolded and handcuffed, and we went to the camp. So that is when in the camp we had about half an hour, 40 minutes of walk. We spent about 2 hours there because that campsite was in the middle of nowhere, all hills, nothing, no roads. And I think they did some communication to get some helicopters. In meanwhile, somebody gave me a morphine injection because my body was paining a lot. My shoes had become all wet because of walking in the snow, and somebody gave me some hot soup. And that is when I realized about what this officer meant to me. In the entire 8 days of stay as a POW, he's the only person I realized because of whom individually I got same. As at a national level or at a bigger level, a lot of forces were at play. But at a personal level, officer to officer, soldier to soldier, he was one person who saved my life. Uh, it's very important because on 4th of June, when our forces took over that area, it was intrusion, so they were about 3 to 4 kilometers inside our area. So when our Indian Army took over that area, that entire his he and his platoon all were killed. I know this because I have a extract of that officer's diary where he was maintaining it till the time he got killed, and then when we took over. I have a lot of respect for him personally. Of course, he's a nobody, and even Pakistan doesn't know a lot of things about his background because he told me. He said he just got married recently. His family doesn't know where he is. He can't contact them. It was some kind of a suicide mission for a lot of them because they knew they were going somewhere where they'll not come back alive. But in spite of all of that, he did what he had to do. So I have a lot of respect for that. So once the helicopter came, we went to a place called Skardu. Now, the POK has two bases. One is Skardu, which is about, I think, around 150, 200 miles inside the LOC. We landed at that place, and from there I was blindfolded and again taken to the some place inside. So when the blindfold opened, then I could make out that I'm in some kind of a mess kind of a position. So a lot of things happened there. Some people came, they met me. Some people came with a file, take my details. So since they were army people, they were not very sure about the status of a mission. I could make out that we have a rogue parachute which comes out before the main parachute. So I had told the army Jawans when I was being taken to the camp that there's one more pilot. Now, my logic was that there are not many people there. So in case they go and search for that pilot, then I'll get a chance to maybe escape. Now that plan did not go through because when they reached the campsite, there were some 35, 40 of them, all obviously with weapons. So there was no way I could plan escape there. So I maintain the same story here also that it was a training mission with two of us, and so they kept asking me some questions. And anyway, so after everything got over, then there were two soldiers who were in some kind of overcoat. They were told to just be with me and ensure I don't sleep. So I didn't understand the entire logic behind that. When we came back to our Vayu and I had my own debrief with our intelligence people, they said the first thing which POW is when you become PW is to deny you sleep because water they can't deny, then you'll die. Food they can deny, we can take food 3, 4 days, 5 days without not a problem. But if you deny sleep to a person, he starts becoming weak. His head starts becoming weak. He starts seeing hallucinations, and they want to make a person weak when they intend to interrogate him later. So that was the intention to make me stay awake. So that was it. So next day there was one C-130 which came. I went to a place called Rawalpindi, Islamabad, Rawalpindi, Twin Cities. So we went to a safe house. यहाँ पे they took one more day to try to break me. They have a system of hot and cold co-op, and they use a lot of methods to break you down. So finally, after one day, that is 29, they decided that I am not cooperative, and that is when they got a file and they made a big scene out of that and said, now you're not in our hands. We tried to give you a good deal. Now you're care of ISI, and they made me sign something, and they said, now you're care of them. Also, what happened in this one day was there was a Maulvi, very knowledgeable man, but obviously he was part of the Pakistani army. He also interacted for a fair amount of time with me in trying to break me on a lot of fronts. So what happens is all of us we have identities, we start with being an Indian as at a national level. We belong to a service, Indian Air Force. We belong to a state. Let's say I'm Andhra. We maybe a religion, Hindu. So whatever we have a lot of family. We have a lot of identities, from the top highest level to the lowest level. So that Maulvi's basic purpose was to break me down or make me weak on whichever level he could. Example. I'll give you an example. Let's say as a Hindu. So if he knows a lot of things about Hinduism where things have gone wrong, obviously it's a very old religion, and if he knows that and he tries to bring it out and he tries to make me weak as a Hindu in my belief in my religion, or he knows a lot of things about our politicians, like, and at that time Lalu was in jail and that scam was going on. So he tried to show our leaders as very weak, and this is what you are fighting for to protect and to save. So on multiple fronts, he tries to make your stubbornness very weak. So that is the way they work on that. And because you are not a normal person. When you are a PW, you're not slept, you're not eaten, you already have a lot of stress. So mind is playing games. So when all these things happen and somebody tries to play games with you, if you're not strong, you are vulnerable to get swayed by what they're saying. Fortunately for me, I'm not very religious. I'm spiritual, but not religious. Obviously, NDA has given a lot of training to have a strong character. Family values are there. As a nation, all of us, we understand what we are fighting a war for. So all these things were there, and these are not major issues for me. But it's possible that people can get affected with it. So finally, they handed me over to the ISI. So 3.5 days there it was quite bad. I'll not go too much into detail, but uh, a stage comes when you start thinking death will be a better option, a simpler option than going through all that, because physical injuries, uh, all the light in the cells, same cell, we do everything. Hardly any food. We don't eat food because they make it in a way that you can't eat this. Water, of course, they keep giving. So the entire process is very tiring, physically, mentally, emotionally, and that was a tough part. But for me, again, I was fortunate that what was happening parallelly, which I got to later, was Indian forces were getting the upper hand. A lot of media pressure was being built up to have me released. Mr. Vajpayee had given an unconditional order to our diplomatic channel that I have to be released without any conditions. I had a cousin in US. Some 10,000 Indians, NRS, had signed and sent a letter to Clinton to put pressure through that channel on Pakistan. So I realized that a lot of things are happening because of whatever reasons to get me released, and everything worked in my favor. Internally, what happened, which I got after I went through some media press reports in embassy, was because Musharraf had planned the entire thing without keeping Nawaz Sharif in the loop. So there was some kind of internal friction between that, and Nawaz Sharif also wanted to do something to tell the world, "Ki, I'm not a bad guy, I'm okay. It's just that my army commander had planned something." So, a lot of things were going on that front also. So everything worked in my favor eventually. So before third degree could start or drugs could start, I think they took a call to have me released. I was sent back to the safe house. I spent one day there. They got me some new clothes, some medical doctor came, and the food came. So suddenly everything changed. Now this is the time when they started trying to uh, portray that once I go back, I can be an agent for them, and how to get in touch with me through some post box in Nepal. So now they try to just ensure that once I go back, I'll be available to supply information to them. Obviously, all that is part of a very classical format they have, which I got to know from 1971 onwards. 71 POWs also have gone through a similar pattern. So I think the patterns are similar all over. So that's it's one day I spent there, and then next day, second, I was handed over to something called ICRC, International Red Cross Society. So what happens is when POWs are exchanged between nations, we don't go do directly because direct to direct there might be some issues. So Red Cross acts as a in between media, and they hand over to media. They do some medical checkups and they do some paper action, and then they hand over to our embassy. So the same ISI which gave me a tough time for those 3.5 4 days. So when I was being driven to the our embassy, uh, they had the entire road was sanitized by them because a lot of fundamental units agencies in Pakistan did not want me to come back, obviously because I'm from the other side. So just to ensure that once they declare that they're sending me back, they didn't want them to cause any damage to our convoy. So the same organization gave the security to the entire road. We reached our embassy, and that was amazing. Once I entered the embassy, that is the first time after 8 days, 7 days, eighth day was this was eighth day. I saw my own people. Uh, Embassies like our own country. I entered, and I still remember 110 people there. 110 people came, all of them coming and hugging, and somebody touching her feet, and somebody crying, and that was a very special moment because I never expected to come back. I still know so many of us in 71 war veterans were still there, and most of them may have not in a good state to come back or may have died. So obviously, we as a normal soldier, we don't think that we'll come back. We just think we're going to just while away into somewhere as part of statistics. So when we meet our own people there, when we come back, that makes it very special. So the first thing I did was when I came, I said I want to speak to my parents. So they were at Alambur. So I spoke to my parents and I spoke to, I think, Chief, Prime Minister, everybody. So next day they organized some paperwork. I didn't have a visa or passport. So somebody got some temporary documentation done. And they offered an aeroplane to drop me back, but obviously war was going on. We refused. So we took one of the embassy vehicles and we drove across to the Wagah border. Wagah, our side, all Indians were there to welcome us. It was again a very special moment to come back into motherland. And from there, I went to the Air Force Station Amritsar. We had an aeroplane. We went to Palam, met my parents, family, everybody. Most of my family members had come to Adhampur to wait for the news. So all of them had come to Delhi to meet me. And then, of course, I spent about 4 days there. Met the chief and prime minister, president. We had a long debrief with our own intelligence. And once everything was done, I requested a chief that I want to be off media because war is still on. I said, focus is on me. It's not correct. A lot of soldiers are dying, so I should be off media. He said, he'll try. So what Tipi sir had was, he sent me back to Adhampur with instructions not to have the outside media interacting with me. So that was in a way a good thing because slowly people were focusing on other issues. And yeah, that's it. So after that, I was medically on for almost 4 years. So one of the biggest drawbacks of the Kargil was we didn't have surveillance aeroplanes, which came out in the report. So once I was medically down, I was inducted for to get UAVs from Israel. So I was part of that entire team for 4 years. Once my fitness came back, I couldn't fly ejection seat aeroplanes. I had multiple compression on my vertebra, so I shifted to transport airplanes. So then I flew AN-32s and IL-78 real refuelers. I worked till 2017. 17 is when I decided to take a break from spend time in South with my parents. So I retired, came to Hyderabad, and I've been working in Hyderabad since. So Wani sir, that's in a nutshell. That is the that is the life.
Yeah, must have been a very harrowing experience, and you must be remembering each and every detail of those 7.5, 8 days.
Absolutely, sir. After I came back, it almost took 6 months to get back to sleep without disturbance. Almost for about 2 years, any scene on the television, police or army of interrogation, I used to get affected. I had to go and talk at some places uh, for education purposes. So wherever I used to go, I used to come back. Again, it used to take some time. But yeah, eventually, time is a big healer. I think इससे भी बहुत बड़े बड़े loss होते हैं life में which we handle with time. So slowly it becomes educational thing for others to share with others and to also to tell what all things are possible. But yeah, like you said, it was quite bad. And I always feel the biggest takeaway, like somebody asked me, I said is, when you see death so closely, that is when we realize what is the value of life. So most of us, we take life for granted, all small things. But I think what this incident taught me was life is so beautiful that we should live each and every moment and not have any complaints or grips. It's all part of the bigger plan. We're just a very small puppet in the entire scheme of things. That is the way I look at things from then onwards.
So nice. And I would like to mention here that, the then government under Atal Bihari Vajpayee, and even when Abhinandan became a POW and his release, government under Modi, these are great things of even one POW not remaining back. Whereas so many POWs, especially Air Force pilots, were in Pakistan during the 71 war after that, and we didn't bother much about them. So whenever somebody says Durga, Iron Lady, etc., I have very less regard. Because for exchange of 93,000, we could not get those 17 or 25 chaps back. Very
Absolutely.
sad.
Absolutely.
So nice. You were lucky. Your parents, your family, all of them must have been praying for you, and all of us were praying for you, and you returned without much harm, without much mental scars. So nice of you to have conveyed the story to us. And if there is nothing more to add, I will request the participants to ask questions from their side.
Please, please.
Yeah, please go ahead. If there are any questions, please ask him.
This is Corporal Rameshwar.
Yes, yes.
The question is that, Nachiketa sir, how you controlled yourself during your captivity and did not divulge anything in their favor? What was your strength?
I will request.
Sorry, say again, please.
Mute. Otherwise, we are getting back. Please mute your mics. Actually, the person who is talking.
Yeah, Mr. Prasad, can you ask once again, please? Two people talking. Could you ask once again?
My question is that, sir, during your captivity, how could you control yourself, not submitting to their wishes to divulge the information? The first question. The second question I had in beginning, so AVM Wani sir has replied that. So this is the question.
So, like I covered in between, NDA, our character is built at multiple layers. How I look at it. NDA is the first place 3 years of military training, which teaches us to handle the tough situations. So that is very, very important. Now, having said that, it is not that people who don't go to NDA will not handle. So that is one of the aspects. Other aspects which I can see, which after this experience are, first is all of us, we stand, like I told you, all of us have identities. So if my belief in my identity as a Indian, as a Indian Air Force service personnel, as a soldier, as a Hindu, as my family's surname, belonging to that family, the values which my parents have given, that family structure, if all these are very strong, I'm sure most of us can handle situations which are very tough, and that gives us the strength. Like in during my entire phase, only once I became very emotional, and I think when they told me that my father had a second heart attack and he's in Bhatinda MH, unlikely to survive unless they go back. So it never occurred to me that our media was covering everything, and they were also covering that he had a bypass 3 months back. So when they told me, all facts were correct. He had a bypass. They said he had a second bypass. They knew he was in Adhampur, Jalandhar MH. He was Adhampur. So I thought everything is right. हमारे प्रेस में नाम भी आ गया था. They got the name also. So it never occurred to me to doubt what they were telling me, that quickly cooperate, tell what they want to know, and go back to meet your father, unless otherwise you'll die. So that was a weak moment for me when I thought, oh my God. But obviously I didn't even think twice. I just closed my eyes and said, sorry, father, I'll not be beating you. So all of us we stand for a lot of things which give us strength at various levels, at various layers, mentally, emotionally, physically, of course, depending on age and all. So I think this is what gives us the strength to handle such situations. So military training is one part of it. Besides that, the family training, unit training, the way we have been built up, all these things add up and finally make us what we are.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. I'm ex-sergeant TB Rao, sir, TBR.
TBR sir, आपको सब जानते हैं. Everybody knows you.
Hey,
Yeah,
what an amazing.
You're doing a great
Yes, sir.
service. I only did service when I was in service, but you're doing amazing service even after service. So hats off to you. So many
Andhra,
people and families are thankful to what you're doing.
And both belonging to Andhra, how can you not know him, sir?
Sir, let me complete. What an amazing, adventurous, heartbreaking, heart-touching story that you have narrated. So we can appreciate and acknowledge the pains you have gone through and the patriotism you have shown and the determination and courage. Being the air warrior, proud air warrior of India, we all know, air veterans salute your courage, bravery, and that determination to stand God against all those things and not to divulge anything to the enemies in spite of heart-wrenching problems. So it's a greatness of you and greatness of the, as you acknowledge, the training that he has given by NDA, and that's what the men of our India are made of. So really hats off to you, sir. And Air Veterans Association proudly salute your sacrifices made to the country,
Thank you,
sir.
sir.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I'm Wing. May I?
Please.
I'm Wing
Yes, sir.
Commander Pandey. I'm
Namaskar,
also
sir.
a Kargil veteran. Namaskar. As to sit almost 2 rows ahead of you with Ahuja and other people. We used to fly Mi-17 and we took part in attack during Kargil operation. One point I would like to add here that Nachiketa, you are brave and really salute to your entire service and what courage you have shown. But Ahuja was unlucky because he was captured by Mujahideen. When Mujahideen capture, they are generally trained to kill only. And I really say that you are very lucky that you are captured by army over there, and that's why you survived.
Exactly,
And
sir. Both had
we both
ejected very
sides.
close to. Sorry, both had ejected very close to each other. In my case, 5 NLA. NLA is the Northern Light Infantry. So I was captured by the soldiers of 5 NLA who were still soldiers. Ahuja sir's case, unfortunately, was the Mujahideen infested area. So obviously they don't have any ethics and principles, and they didn't send him back alive. So yeah.
Yeah. And first time I am interacting with you after Kargil war, I met you once or twice, but really proud of you and your service. And you told this story in a perfect manner, perfect befitting manner. Really enjoyed it. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Sir, one request, sir. We are going to celebrate this occasion. Silver Jubilee celebrations of Kargil war heroes. So tentative planning on August 10th and 11th, sir, in National Institute of Technology, Andhra Pradesh, Tadepalli. We would like to felicitate you, sir, during those days.
Sir, which dates? Sir? What are the dates?
It is
Which
10th and
date?
11th of, sir, 10th and 11th of August, sir. Can you hear me, sir?
10th and 11th of August.
August, yes, sir. We are planning for 10th and 11th.
Okay. What we'll do is let the date come closer. We'll talk about that.
This Saturday, Sunday, sir.
No, in civil aviation we don't follow weekend. We have a different schedule. We don't follow weekend, but we'll talk about that. Please.
Hello, Nachiketa. This is Group Captain Gohai.
Jain, sir.
Jain. Well, a wonderful story. I just want to know the thing because when we used to fly over those, I was posted in Srinagar, and we used to do all the dummy strikes from Srinagar to Leh. And whenever I used to look down, flying over Nunkun, I used to think that if I eject here, nobody will find me.
Yes.
And that was the main worry. Because tell me, when you ejected, how long did it take for the enemy troops to reach you? Because that was the lucky part. That was the most lucky part. Because if you were ejected in a place that they would have taken a lot of time to reach you, probably the weather would have affected you much more. That I feel. How long did it take for them to reach you?
Sir, approximately 30 to 40 minutes. I met a 10 para officer later after my ejection. I got to know that they had told Air Force that they can send some.
Going, sir, please mute your mic.
Somebody's mic is on.
There's a lot of echo.
So
I can see Satish Sinha and mics on. Yeah, please switch them on. We are getting echoes, lots of echoes.
TBR.
So the Indian 10 bearer told the Air Force will pick up, but Air Force said we have low-level surface to air missiles. So helicopters are not safe. We can't lose another plane or so many just to pick up one pilot. So they said the
Govind sir,
permission is not given,
Govind sir, please
which was
mute
a
your
good
mic.
decision because you can't endanger an entire helicopter to clear. But what you're saying is right. Had the time been more, the weather, cold temperatures, everything would have had its effect.
Yeah, that's, I think that way, that was the first lucky for about you being, taken prisoner. Because if you had not been taken a prisoner, probably, you probably would have been a much worse time, would have faced it. That's what I feel. You were lucky that way.
Very lucky. So
And
when I reached the campsite and they removed my shoes, the front part of the feet was had become full white because I was wearing service issue shoes, which were not very good. So the melted snow had gone inside. So they were very nice. They removed the shoes and they gave some kind of a hot treatment. They said if you don't do that, I'll get a frostbite. So the soldiers there, they understood that my kit was not suitable for that place.
okay.
Govind
That's what I
sir,
want to know.
after asking question, please mute your mic because it gives echo.
Sir, regarding the weather, I will narrate one incident. I have flown lots of sorties over the Siachen Glacier earlier while in Pathankot and also during Kargil. Because we were operating from Ambala, we were not dressed. People who are operating from Avantipur or Srinagar were at least wearing the NATO jackets, NATO suits, etc. Whereas from Ambala, it was so hot in the month of June, July, that we were wearing normal flying clothing. So once I went for a night sortie at around 2 o'clock and I was seeing lots of action below. I was flying at 40,000. We were directing the Indian artillery to fire at one of a post across the border. And, I was wondering and praising the army for their bravery because I saw so many flares being fired from the ground, indicating that some attack was going on at that stage. When I came back, my CEO asked me, so Wani, what do you feel? I said, sir, the army is doing great job, sir. What bravery. So he said, Wani, do you know how much time you will survive after you eject in this normal flying clothing? I said, yeah, maybe 15 minutes. So he said, isn't that bravery knowing that you are going to die in 15 minutes, even if you eject and survive? Do you think you are not brave to go from an AC office, fly at 2 o'clock for 2 hours, go and do your mission and come back? And I said, yeah. So, I mean, army people are brave, but Nachiketa, you have been through such things, and hats off to your bravery. Hats off to your bravery.
Like I told that first media person in Delhi, he said, do you feel like a hero? I told him, all soldiers are heroes. Everyone would have done the same thing. That is what I feel even today. I think all of us are made to do that.
You are an extraordinary, sir.
Okay.
Hello.
Yeah, Nachiketa sir, you are a
One by one, sir. One by one.
okay. This is Rameshwar. So Nachiketa sir, did you wrote already a book, or you are going to write? Or if not, I would request and suggest that you are a good, your description is very encouraging. So it will encourage to coming generations. You should write a book.
Yes. We are in the process of the movie is being made and it'll take some time. It's a long process. As part of the same book is also being written. So yeah, it'll take. I understand what you're saying is right. It'll come out hopefully in some time. Whatever time frame they finish the movie, something should come out.
Truly, sir, it will be inspiring.
Yes, yes.
Really and truly inspiring story it should be.
Initially,
Good evening, sir.
I was not ready for it, but the one of the chiefs he gave me a call. He said, Nachi, don't think about yourself. Think about all the young people who want to have good stories to look forward to and join forces. So that is when
Exactly.
I said, okay, let's.
Yeah, exactly. It will is going to inspire so many people. I mean, youngsters.
Can I say something? This is Ekomodo Mehta. Hi, Nachi.
Sir, Jai Hind, how are you?
Good
Okay,
to see
Ashish sir
you.
was my first flight commander in Jodhpur.
Yes, yes.
That's great.
Hi, Wani. Wani, good to see you too. Hello, gentlemen. The other day we had a long chat a week back. Good to see Nachi narrating his part of the story and how he came back safe and wiser in many ways, educating all of us. I just wanted to compliment him on behalf of all of us and knew him pretty well. And I'm glad that he's amongst us to be able to tell the story. Well done, Nachi. Jai Hind.
Thank you, sir.
Good evening, sir. Nachiketa, sir. Good evening.
Namaskar, Jai Hind.
नमस्कार, जय हिंद सर। कैसे हैं आप?
All good. Thank you so much.
94 में जब आप ज्वाइन किए थे तो मैं JWO था।
कहाँ पे?
जब
Next
आप
place?
I left the service in 1997, sir.
Okay, okay.
So, only 3 years were left for me to leave the service, and you joined before 3 years. So, 87 I was in Jaisalmer as a cipher officer, duty cipher officer. And there was an incident where 4 of our men crossed the international border. The condition of our commander was such a pitiable condition. Whole day, in morning it happened, and full day we were running here and there. All the brother, you can say ki the condition of our commander, like a guardian everywhere. The station commander is a guardian of everyone. So it was a very, very pathetic condition. और मैं अच्छी तरह से समझ सकता हूँ किस तरीके से आपने वहां पे झेला होगा। जब वापस वो लोग आए तो उनसे मैंने बात भी किया, और चीफ साहब भी आए थे, लापेंटन साहब थे चीफ उस दौरान, तो ही आल्सो केम। सो दिस वाज द रिएक्शन कि हमें तो दूसरा जीवन मिला है, अगर वो मार के फेंक देते हैं हमें तो आप लोग क्या कर सकते थे। दैट वाज द वर्डिंग ऑफ सर्जेंट मोरे, ही सेड दिस थिंग। आई प्रे सर, आई विश यू लॉन्ग लाइफ, एंड वी आर really proud of you. We are really proud of you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
और गलती से किसी भी एयरफोर्स स्टेशन के पास मत चले जाइए कि नहीं आपको दोबारा भर्ती कर लेंगे, यंग एंड डायनेमिक।
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, anybody else? I think we are running out of time. Any questions?
I want to thank him, TVR.
Yeah, Patek Sahib. Yes, yes.
Patek sir, बताएं.
Sir, very nice of you for honoring our request, which was there since last 1 year. I've been trying to get you.
Thank you to you to get me on this forum where I can meet so distinguished people. Thank you so much, Patek sir.
But today is a lucky day for us that you honored our request. Physically,
मैंने आपको एक ही चीज बोला था. Obviously, being because of the background, I get so many requests, but only veterans and children, school children. These are the 2 categories I'll never say no. Rest, बाकी हर जगह से आते हैं. I just tell them no, I'm not interested. I just want to lead a quiet life. But I'm veterans because not that because I'm a veteran, but all of us have done the same job for the nation. And kids because children are the future for us. So if they get inspired, hopefully some of them will join us. It'll make changes to our future. So except these 2 categories, others I just say no because I'm not interested. But yeah, आपने जब से आप बोल रहे तब से I was thinking कहाँ मौका मिलेगा. Fortunately आज chance मिल गया.
Very kind of you for having joined the meeting, and it was a very excellent narration. We had during our 71 celebration, we had our Zoom meeting with all the POWs, those who were there in 71 war, and jointly and collectively also. One meeting was there where all the POWs were on one platform, and individually we had meetings with them. The story of them, and you are a brave person and you are the luckier one, sir. The others had to suffer a lot, especially AVM Petia. His story was, he is no more now. He has expired some time back, but he had a lot of sufferings. They have troubled him a lot. So definitely, we are thankful to God. You are luckier one and brave one. So I congratulate you on your great success and wish all the best for your future life.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yeah, it's really, sir, your story is really gripping. We had the stories of all the 6 POWs, like our Air Commodore, what is that? Kuriakose, sir.
Kurvilla,
Then we have
Bhargava,
Brother
Petia,
Bhargava,
everybody.
Petia,
Parul,
sir, Parulkar, sir, and Vinkamana Chatti. So we had the call of all of them, but the way you narrated your story, unique and totally gripping and touching your heart, sir. So I'm so thrilled to listen and to get inspired with your story. And as somebody suggested, writing a book or bringing about some kind of picture will definitely inspire a lot of youngsters, sir, to join the
Sure, sir.
armed forces and to show the path that you have shown to us. So it's really great, great thing that you have done for us. And sir, finally, I lost the link in between. I was requesting for our Pell station kind of thing in our National Institute of Technology, Tadepalguru, sir. So that is
Definitely. August,
during
we'll speak. August, we'll speak. We'll speak at that time.
Yes, sir. Yes, I'll be in touch with you. Thank you, sir. It's a great privilege and pleasure having you and listening to your real life story. You are the, in fact, real hero for all of us. It's inspiration
sir.
for all
Thank
of
you so
us.
much. Thank
So,
you.
Air Veterans Association wishes you all the best and great life ahead, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Vani.
Thank you so
Thank
much,
you,
Wani,
everyone.
sir. Thank you
Thank
very
you,
much,
sir.
sir,
Thank
for
you,
all the
everyone.
participants.
May
Thank you,
God
Mr.
bless you.
Pathak.
Long life. May
Everyone.
God bless you. Long life. Long life.
Thank you so much.
Thank you all. Bye bye. Jai Hind.
Thank you,
sir.
sir.
Jai
Thank
Hind.
you, sir.
Jai Hind.
Before you depart, I want to thank Wani sir also. He has taken out a valuable time for us and anchored. Plus his own story also was wonderful. So I am very much thankful to Wani sir and for his great job.
Thank you, Vani sir.
Thanks, Nachiketa. Lovely.
Yeah. Thank you, Wani sir. Thank you.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye
Thank
bye.
you so much.
Thank
Good
you
night.
very much, all of you.
Thank you,
Sir,
sir.
Pathak sir is 88 years old. And we have to pray for him to live another 100 years more.
Century, make to make century.
Live as much as he wants to live.
Yeah, in fact, he's living.
Correct. That is good.
So we see a lot of people living their fears, but Pathak sir is living totally, truly living for our community kind of thing.
That's great.
You may not be knowing that TBR is a great author. The host, TBR is a great author, and he is having toll plaza collection in 12 states, sir. 12 state toll plaza collection is there. God bless you, sir. God bless you.
सब जानते हैं. He is very famous in all communities.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
A great webinar. Great webinar. Thank you all. Thank you all. God bless you.
Thank you. Good night.
Thank you.
Sir, thank you very much. One small word. I am flying in Kedarnath, Badrinath area. In case you get stuck anywhere, any help you want.
That's really
I am
great,
flying
sir.
helicopter in this area, so please do contact me. It will be a pleasure to help you all. Thank you.
Thank you for the information, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Bless you, sir. Great service. Great
And
service, sir.
do
Great
send me also invite
service
and
and out of
information
service.
about Hyderabad. I am staying in Nagpur. I would love to join because that will be my break period most probably.
Yeah, I think we are planning, sir. We are planning a gathering of all the celebrities.
The official invite will be there very soon.
Yeah,
so
officially, we'll be inviting
this is just
officially.
an
Yes.
advance information, and you are all most welcome there. It will be a pleasure to meet in person. We are talking now online.
All the Kargil war heroes.
Different satisfaction altogether. So I request all of you, those who are here, that they all must come to Tadipalligudam, where we are going to arrange a great function.
And
you,
just
sir.
for
Thank you, sir.
information of Nachiketa, that once you are shot down, or no, so once you ejected over there, 2 Mi-17 took off from Srinagar for a rescue operation. But once they entered the Gunji Valley, they were told that already they have been captured. We came to know within about 40-45 minutes, and that's why we returned back. Okay.
That's really great, sir.
Right, sir. Good night.
Thank you all. Please
Nice, sir. Good night.
enjoy
Thank you so much.
enjoy the cricket match with
Thank you so
South
much.
Africa.